Welcome to the Survivor to Thriver show with your happiness expert, Samia Bano. Are you a survivor of abuse or other trauma? Are you tired of feeling stuck, silent, and stressed all the time? This is the podcast people from all over the world join in to learn exactly how to stop suffering and start living with more inner peace and joy. Are you ready to eliminate suffering from your life and transform from a survivor to thriver? Then congratulations, you are in the right place. Let's get started. Hey, welcome back to the Survivor to Thriver show. I'm really excited today because we are going to move on to the next teaching about love. And of course, as I've shared with you before, love is an area of expertise of our heart. So whenever I'm going to be reflecting on love, I am actually sharing with you the reflections of my heart. And my heart is a philosopher heart. So things are going to get philosophical again today. That's really exciting for me because I just love my philosophical heart, okay? But don't worry if you're not particularly into philosophy. I'm going to take good care of you. Just like what we did with the first couple of teachings, I'm going to first give you the philosophical reflections, and then I'm going to go ahead and contextualize them for you in the context of my own experiences, as well as giving you a way to practically apply those ideas and lessons in your life. So with the last teaching, that was about compassion, being love is born of compassion and attachment is born of arrogance. So we've been doing this like comparing love to attachment, because one of the best ways that we can understand what something is to understand what it is not. And love and attachment are two ideas that are often confused with each other, right? And again, just to give credit where it's due, remember, I have not made up this teaching. It's not the particular way in which this has been framed, and I think it's been beautifully framed in this way. Is a framing that I have actually learned from watching an episode of the Mahabharata, which is one of the great Indian Hindu epics. And so in this particular teaching that we're going to focus on today, it says, it's comparing love and attachment again, and it says, love says, God will give all the world's happiness to my love. Whereas attachment says, I will give all the world's happiness to my love. So love says, God will give all the world's happiness to my love. Whereas attachment says, I will give all the world's happiness to my love. So let's just allow that to sink in. I think this time, the second part of the teaching about attachment is more easily understood in terms of, how would that be true? Why would that be true? At least it is easily understood if you remember the previous teaching that attachment is born of arrogance, right? And remember how we defined arrogance. Arrogance is this belief that I am self-sufficient. A belief of self-sufficiency that refuses to acknowledge the interdependent, interconnected nature of our beings. And so it's really living in an illusion. This kind of belief in self-sufficiency, this arrogant belief in self-sufficiency, is really living in an illusion. And when you are living in this illusion of self-sufficiency, of course, and you think about, okay, how is the one I love going to be provided for? You say, well, I'm self-sufficient. I am going to be the one to provide for everything that I need or that my loved one needs. Okay, so it's a very, very, if you agree with the definitions that I've been using, it's a relatively easy concept to understand. Now remember what the problem is. The big problem is that this is based on an illusion, right? This entire line of thinking that I'm going to provide for the one I love is based on the belief that I'm self-sufficient, but the belief that I'm self-sufficient is an illusion. It's not true. It's not going to happen. It does not happen. I don't care how rich and powerful you are, how much money you have, even if you are the king of the world, even if you're President Obama, who is currently the most powerful man in the world, as the president of the world superpower, even if you're President Obama, you are not self-sufficient. Okay? Again, remember, when we're talking about this whole teaching of around arrogance and the idea of self-sufficiency, it's like, look, just strip down to the very basics of what you need to live. Okay, forget about the fancy cars and the all those kinds of luxuries of life. Just the basic essentials of what you need just to live, just to survive. You need air, you need water, you need food, you need some kind of shelter, right? Now, did you create the air that you need to breathe? No, you didn't. Did you create the water that you need to drink? No, you didn't. Did you even grow your own food? No, you didn't. Did you even create the shelter that you depend on to protect you from the elements? Whether it's the clothes that you wear or the home that you live in, I'm willing to bet you didn't. You depend, even if you are the President of the United States, you depend on a community and an ecosystem within which that community lives to provide for your needs. Our nature is not the nature of self-sufficient beings. We are not self-sufficient beings. We are beings that are interconnected, interdependent parts of a whole. We are not self-sufficient beings. We are interconnected, interdependent parts of a whole. Okay? And because we are interconnected, interdependent parts of a whole, it is a complete illusion for us to say, I am self-sufficient, therefore I will provide for myself or for anyone else. No. We are interconnected, interdependent beings. We depend on each other. We depend on our communities. We depend upon the ecosystem within which we exist to help us and support us in providing for our own needs and the needs of our loved ones. And because attachment is born of arrogance, attachment believes I will provide for my happiness and for my loved one's happiness, but it's just not true. So what's the alternative? What is true? So if you're not the one who's going to be the provider of all that you need or all that your loved one needs, who is going to provide? Who is going to be the provider? Well, the really simple answer is that it's the whole, right? It's the whole that we are all parts of that's going to provide. Ultimately, right? Ultimately, it's the whole working together in the system, this complex system that we have that supports all of our lives. If you mess with any part of the whole, we create discord, we create destruction, we create problems, right? I mean, whether you're looking at parts of the whole like, my gosh, I mean, look, you become arrogant, you think you're self-sufficient, you forget that you're part of an interconnected, interdependent whole, you start to pollute the air, and you start to pollute the water. You cut down all the trees in the forest. And then who's going to suffer? If not in the short term, in the long term. You will suffer. Your children will suffer. Your children's children will suffer. And you may even suffer right now, not in the future. You know, I mean, so many issues that we're struggling with in today's world, in today's society, they can be traced back to thoughtless human actions. You know? Where we put in like all these factories which start to just spew out all their crap, really, into the rivers and the lakes and the ocean. And then what happens? Those bodies of water become polluted, and then people around those areas start to struggle just to find enough water, clean drinking water to drink, to live. So, and like, there's just so many examples that I could go into, but I hope I've made my point and that you're able to connect with it. So just think about this, you know, that just think about this saying, this part of the teaching, that attachment says, I will give all the world's happiness to my love, and that is an illusion. So next time we will pick up where we're leaving off here and look more closely at the counterpart of that teaching, which says, love says God will give all the world's happiness to my love, and look at that more closely and apply and see how we can begin to apply these learnings in our life at a very practical level. In the meanwhile, I want to remind you to please show me some love by going on iTunes and leaving this show a 5-star rating. All right. Until we connect next time, I wish you lots of peace and joy. And thanks for leaving that 5-star rating.